Howdy. How's it going? Happy New Year, 2021. We made it. The clock didn't roll over to 2020 part two. I think it's a new year. I got my tea. What are you sipping on? It's no, spiced something or other. I just tried it. It's brand new. And I was teabagging it. That's the right descriptor, right? And the string just whoop, came right off. So the tea bag is still floating around in there. So it's getting stronger and stronger the longer I wait. So you may have to excuse me if I take a couple sipperinos here. I'm James, and we're going to go through some of the top five hottest releases, coolest releases, most memorable releases of the last year. That includes full albums. We'll do some singles too, and some stuff you may have missed, whiffed out on. Taking a swing at it. First of which is probably a dead ringer for me and very obvious, maybe considering the background over here, over here. AC/DC, Power Up. I didn't see it coming. I wasn't sure we'd ever see another record from the guys, but they came back with the classic Back in Black era lineup, sans Malcolm Young. I think it's a fitting tribute to their fallen brother, and during just a chaotic year was a release that was really tried and true. It delivered exactly what we expected, which is what AC/DC has always done. One of the maybe big surprises, though, was Through the Mists of Time. If you've heard the track, you know what I'm talking about. It may be the only song throughout their entire discography that isn't a straight four on the floor backbeat drum rhythm. It's weird. They switched it up. It's worth a listen. Their other singles are good. I think they should have led with Demon Fire. If you haven't heard that song, give Demon Fire a listen. One of my other top five, and this is in no particular order, of the past year is a single from the band Royal Blood. A couple guys out of the UK, and when I say a couple, I mean literally a couple. It's two guys. They're killing it. They're two records in, and both of them are nearly flawless. Their latest single is called Trouble Comin', and it is just stomping. It's a mix of disco dance with this modern punch to it. It's got a massive hook. It's really dirty and moody and dark, and I hear it and I just want to put on eyeliner and like this leather jacket and just kind of strut through a club. Listen to the song. You'll know what I'm talking about. Trouble's Coming, Royal Blood. Now, this track or this choice for my top five, probably a bit of a curveball. It's not so much rock. It's very much not rock. It's Tame Impala's The Slow Rush. And it's synthy, it's reverbed soaked, it's super mellow. If you're familiar with Tame Impala, you know the sound I'm talking about. And this record's a solid one. It's memorable. There's a lot of good hooks in it. So I feel like it's a good record if you've got some homework to do or you need to drown out a neighbor or a roommate who's being kind of noisy. If you're planning a makeout session, it makes a good soundtrack for that too. Really great drum and bass. Tame Impala's The Slow Rush. Really good. Check out the tracks Breathe Deeper or Borderline. I think another single is going to make the top five, and I'm going to go with Alice Cooper's Our Love Will Change the World, which may be the most non-Alice Cooper song. You've got a guy with face paint and dead babies on stage and guillotines and electric chairs, and then you've got this brand new Beatles-esque song with hand claps, and it kind of makes you want to bop your head like this. It's so cheery and weird, and I love it. It felt like a fitting departure for him in 2020 with lines like, Our love will change the world into a strange place you won't recognize. And then later on the line, You may not like it now, but you'll get used to it anyhow. Just seemed to ring true or feel really fitting for this past year. So, new record from Alice Cooper on the way, Detroit Stories, and that's one of the singles, Our Love Will Change the World. Ozzy, if you remember, he released a new record very early 2021. It came out in February and it had a nutso lineup on it with Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Elton John is on a song, Post Malone on a couple of the tracks, Duff McKagan from GNR. Good songwriting overall. It feels like a solid, modern Ozzy record that was mostly done right. A couple gripes that I have is that there is so much vocal processing. There's so much tuning and pitch correction and processing on his voice that it is starting to sound with every record less and less like Ozzy, to the point where, maybe two records down the line, it could just be totally AI and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's close. We're getting there. Straight to Hell is a cool track off of it. The line, I'll make you scream, I'll make you defecate, is pretty silly and weird, which is kind of fitting for Oz. Another part of the record that felt a little forced to me is the all right nows and the come on nows that just felt put in like this homogenized, pre-planned store brand version of Ozzy, even though it's coming from him. To me, though, the standout track on the record is It's a Raid. If you listen to one song on the record, make it It's a Raid. It's really high energy. It's fun. It's got Post Malone on it. It's a great collab. It's mean. It's good. It's good Oz. So I'm going to go with those as my top 5 of 2020 and throw you some honorable mentions. These are things that almost slipped under my radar, or if you missed them, are worth giving a visit. Greta Van Fleet, they came out with a couple new singles. Age of the Machine is one of the longer singles. I think it's over 6 minutes. It's dark, it's slow, it's brooding. I will make the Led Zeppelin comparison and say that it feels a bit like No Quarter, but it also feels like a step in a new direction for the band. A little fresh, not quite as contrived. Ace Frehley came out with Origins Volume 2. That was an all covers record. And there's another one coming on the way. By the way. It'll be his third in the series of the Origins record, which is a series of covers records where he pays homage to artists and bands that inspired him. Some of the tracks are a bit unique. They've got a heavier version of Zeppelin's Good Times, Bad Times on there. Space Truckin', he tackled that. The vocals aren't anywhere near the original, which I know that you're aware of. He can't do that, but it's cool. It's worth a listen. Dennis DeYoung, the original voice of Styx, came out with a new record, and the song With All Due Respect is worth checking out. It's fun, it's playful, it sounds like early Styx. His voice is holding up really well, and there's another record. There will be another volume on the way, as Dennis DeYoung had released 26 East Volume 1 was the record he put out this year. And this is when I was just talking with another guy about Blue Oyster Cult's The Symbol Remains. I nearly crept past this record this year. It's a big sleeper of an album. Give it a listen. It caught me off guard. There's such a diversity of the songwriting on this record. You've got tracks that feel like classic Blue Oyster Cult. You've got tracks that feel like well-written modern Blue Oyster Cult. You've got almost a honky-tonkish kind of vibe on the song Train True. And it's a callback to me to a time when records weren't as homogenized and as sort of boilerplate. The record is all over the place and mostly in a good way. McCartney put out a new record just a couple weeks ago, McCartney 3. I only gave it one listen through, but I liked it. It's good. Lavatory Lil stood out as a track that sounded kind of classic Beatles, really memorable. And I will give one more shout out as an honorable mention to Stryper. They put out another record this year. They don't stop. They just keep putting out records, and they're solid. I mean, they really are. If you don't mind a little scripture coated in hairspray, they're good tunes. It's kicking. Michael Sweet, their frontman, his voice is still on fire. There's some heavy Judas Priest influence in there, some really major arena rock sounds. Some of the tracks are arena ready. You close your eyes and you can picture them packing stadiums. They won't, but they put on a good show, and it darn well sounds like it with tracks like Let 'Em In, For God, and Rock and Roll. You will probably cringe a little bit too, as I did with the song Make Love Great Again. As I wrap up here with you, I do want to point out a couple other things you may have missed. Deep Purple have a new record out. Bob Dylan released his 39th studio album this past year. Kansas had a new one too. And some new stuff from Foo Fighters coming in February, I believe. So I'll catch you on air. Be well. Have a fantastic start to 2021, and we'll chat soon. All right? See ya.